Alright, welcome to another video. If you haven't been here before, my name is Georgia Jo and this is my channel where I talk all things books. So today I thought I would go through some anticipated new releases for the rest of 2025. I think I've got 10 in total that I am looking forward to coming out. I'm wanting to read. Hopefully I can get them read as they're coming out, but we'll see. Maybe they'll end up being read next year, I'm not sure, but I am looking forward to them all coming out. So yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so I have put these in release order and we've got two that actually might already be out by the time this goes up. The first book we've got is The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandan. So this comes out on the 17th of July. So this is the same author who wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was a really lovely book to read. Obviously you've got magic in there with there being witches involved, but it's very much set in, like, it's not like a fantasy book, you know, it's set in like the real world, but there's magic involved. I don't know if I'd call it magical realism because they are witches, but yeah, I'm not really sure what genre it would come under, but I am really looking forward to this. I think this will be a good one. Obviously with it being witches and stuff like that, it'd be a good one to read when it gets a little bit cooler, the start of autumn, maybe around October time. Obviously it's coming out in July, but it's not, to me it's not really a summer book. It's more going to be read when it gets a bit cooler, you know, when it's like a bit of a cozy read. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. I think it's going to be a lovely book, just like The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches was. And yeah, very much looking forward to that one. And then the other one that's also out on the same day is one of my favourite authors, and the book is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. So this, like I say, is also out on the 17th, and Holly Jackson is the author that wrote The Good Girl's Guide to Murders. She wrote 5 Survive. She wrote The Disappearance of Rachel Price, which I'm pretty sure I gave that book 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So she kind of writes like YA mystery thrillers. I'm assuming this is going to be very similar considering it's called Not Quite Dead Yet. I think I've got a feeling it's about a girl that's dying, like she's been murdered but she's like not quite dead yet, and she tries to solve her own murder. I think that's this book, if I'm not getting it confused with another one, which just sounds so good. Like, I don't think I've ever read anything like that before. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I love that Holly Jackson writes YA books as well, because I think I don't mind an adult thriller, but I do seem to enjoy YA thrillers and mysteries a bit more. So yeah, really looking forward to reading this one. Like I say, one of my favourite authors. I did have this pre-ordered, but then when the book sort of got released with the sprayed edges, I wasn't actually really a fan of it, so I ended up cancelling the pre-order. So I'll probably just get the regular version maybe. But yeah, like I said, very much excited to read that one. So that is Not Quite Dead Yet, Holly Jackson. And then we move on to September, where we've got Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. So this is following on from Rewitch. I don't think it's the same characters. I don't even know if it's an interconnected standalone series. I think they might just be separate books, but it kind of follows similar themes. So these are cozy fantasy books. Rewitch I really enjoyed. It was just a really lovely cozy fantasy book that gave me moments very like a nostalgic feel. The books themselves are beautiful. Some of the prettiest books. Definitely Rewitched is one of the prettiest books on my shelves, and I have actually ordered the Waterstones special edition of this one, which is again another really pretty book. I'm so excited to have it on my shelf. So Rewitched was Lucy Jane Wood's debut novel. I think recently a sprayed edge version just came out at the works, a paperback, but I do have the hardback version of it. But yeah, I'm so excited. Again, I think this one will be a good one. It doesn't come out until September. It's the 18th of September, so I think probably around then, maybe towards October time, will be a really good time to read it, when it's getting a little bit colder and you can just get comfy with a brew and a really nice book to read. So yeah, I think it's kind of coming out at the perfect time really for that genre for me personally. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. And again in September we've also got Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman, which is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club that comes out on the 25th of September. So if you've not read the Thursday Murder Club before, it's basically following a group of older people, there's 4 of them, who live in a like retirement village, and they every Thursday they meet up and they try to solve cold cases, hence the name Thursday Murder Club. And the 4 different people from 4 different backgrounds and places. You've got Elizabeth, who was like a bit of a spy kind of thing back in her heyday, and then you've got Rob, or Ron, was he called Ron or Rob? I feel like I always get that mixed up. I think it was Rob. Anyway, he was like a activist back in his day, so he would go to like protests and things like that. Very opinionated old man. And then you've got Ibrahim, who is like a psychologist, and he still is a psychologist, but that's also what he did back in the day. And then you have got Joyce, who is kind of the main protagonist, I guess, in the book, because you've got chapters following all different characters, but then you've got Joyce's chapter where it's like she's writing a diary, and she was a nurse back in her day. Did I just say that? Anyway, she was a nurse back in her day, so they kind of all got their own different specialities that they bring to the table. At first they start trying to solve cold cases, and then things start happening around them, mysteries, deaths, murders, and they're trying to figure out the actual stuff that's happening in real time around the retirement village. So yeah, it's following those, and this is the 5th book, so each book kind of they're solving their own like mystery, murder, but then also you've got you're finding out more about the characters as you go on. I feel very like attached to the characters because I've now read 4 books with them, and you find more of the background stories and why they are the way they are, and about their like family and things like that. So yeah, this is the 5th book in the series. I'm really looking forward to it. I actually didn't realise there was going to be a 5th book out until not that long ago. There's also going to be, I think it's a series, it's either a series or a film, but I think it would make more sense for it to be a series, coming out soon, which I'm so excited. I don't actually know when that's coming out. I hope it's not out yet. I don't think it is, but it's coming out at some point, and I'm really looking forward to watching that. I'll definitely be watching it when it comes out. So yeah, that's Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman. And then at the very end of September, the 30th, you have got Make Me a Monster by Kaylin Bayron. So I'm not 100% sure what this book is about, but Kaylin Bayron is one of my favourite authors. I really enjoy her writing. I think I've only got 1 book left of hers. Other than, I think she wrote a few children's books which I probably won't read, but she very much writes YA like mysteries, and they are typically involve some kind of like magic system. I guess they would come under magic realism, I'm not sure. But then she also did write one that is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, I think it's called, and that one reads like a slasher horror film, but it's YA, but I really enjoyed that. And then there is Cinderella's Not Quite Dead, or Not Dead Yet, and then you've got the Poison Heart duology, and then Sleep Like Death is the book that I've not read yet. But anyway, this is a new one, Make Me a Monster by Kaylin Bayron. I really enjoy her writing. I would say it comes under YA, but they are just so good. I think that the way she writes characters, I feel so invested in the characters. I think that recently I read the Poison Heart duology, and the first one I really loved. I loved the characters, I loved the storyline. It was set in like this sort of spooky abandoned mansion, and there was a mystery involved, and the main lead Brie could like manipulate plants and grow them, and they would be affected by her emotions and things like that. And then the second one in the duology went a lot deeper into the Greek mythology history of Brie's family. She is adopted, so she didn't know a lot of her family. And then the second one went into like the Greek mythology, and that kind of lost me a little bit, just because I don't have interest or a lot of knowledge around Greek mythology, so it kind of did lose my interest a little bit. But the writing throughout I still really enjoyed, and I enjoyed the characters. It was just the overpowering theme of Greek mythology. It's just not for me, I'm just not interested. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Also, her books are so beautiful. I did see this version on the Waterstones website, and I've also seen this version, and I hope this version is the one that we actually get to purchase because it's so pretty. It's such a beautiful book. So yeah, I'm really hoping I get this version of it, but we'll see. I don't know, but very much looking forward to reading that one. And then going into October, I think this might be the book I'm most excited for, because the first one in this series was probably my favourite book last year, and obviously I gave it 5 stars with it being my favourite book. And the first one was called Blood of Hercules, and this one is Bonds of Hercules by Jasmine Maas. I loved this book. I really enjoyed it. The audiobook is so good for this. I think because we've got the main lead who, it's in first person, but but also on top of that you're also getting her like every thought, like every daft thought she has, every self-deprecating thought that she has. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny, but it also had a really good plot line and things that I didn't see coming. It had a few twists and turns in there. It's also set at like a, I don't know if it would be called a war college, but it was definitely like a school setting. But it's also a fantasy book, and yeah, I just really love this. This one, to be fair, has got a theme of Greek mythology in it, but it was, which I've literally only just sort of clocked that in my own head, but it's done in a way that I think it didn't bother me as much as I don't have an interest. I think because the characters, I really loved the characters in this, the storyline, things like that. I think it just kept me like hooked. And the last one, Blood of Hercules, left on such a good part of the story that I can't wait to read the next one. I've been waiting a year for this, or it will be a year by the time it comes out. I think I'm so excited to read it. Like I say, I think this might be the one I'm most excited about. So yeah, that is Bonds of Hercules, which comes out on the 23rd of October. And then this one actually was a bit of a shock to me. I didn't realise this was coming out. Well, I got told probably a couple of months ago now, actually by someone, a bookseller, one of the indie bookstores near me, and I thought this author wasn't writing anymore. So this was a really good surprise to me, and it is Brigands, I think it's pronounced, and Bread Knives by Travis Baldry. So this is the author that wrote Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. So Legends and Lattes, I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars in 2023, I want to say. I might have even made the claim that it was my favourite book in 2023 because it was my first introduction to cozy fantasy, and it's, I don't know if I'd necessarily say it's one of my favourite genres. I think I just really enjoyed that book because I've not read anything like that before. The sort of few cozy fantasies that I've read since, I feel like I've not enjoyed as much, so I don't know if it was just a beginner's luck and it was like because that was the first book, because like I say, I've never read anything like that before. I really enjoyed it. It's a completely fictional town, but it's a place where they haven't heard of coffee before. They don't have like a bookshop, or they were introducing like cakes at one point, and they've never had like a cake, coffee and a cake, and they were introducing like takeout mugs kind of thing, and it was just a really lovely book, experiencing these things for the first time. That obviously since I've been born, don't know what it's like to not have coffee shops, you know. I don't even drink coffee, but I feel like there's obviously an abundance of them, and it's something that I don't remember experiencing for the first time because they've just kind of always been there. So I think it was really lovely to experience these people having things for the first time and realising that, oh, if we put it in this kind of cup, people can take it away and they can bring the mug back, and maybe people are like really cozy chairs, or what about if we have like a cake with the coffee. And it was just a really lovely book. And then you've got Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is obviously about a bookshop, and then I am assuming Brigands and Bread Knives is going to be like a bakery, I'm assuming, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, really looking forward to it. Like I say, I didn't realise he was going to be writing another book, so I'm so excited that he is. Bookshop and Bone Dust also, I should mention, I'm pretty sure it was a prequel to Legends and Lattes, so I'm not sure if this one's going to have some of the characters that we're going to be able to see again, or I genuinely have got no idea, and I want to go into it like that. So yeah, that's Brigands and Bread Knives, which is coming out on the 13th of November. And then last but not least, this one is a little bit cheating because it actually comes out on the 1st of January 2026, but I've added it to the end of this list because I feel like this is literally the first day of 2026, so if you're gonna like pre-order it, or people will be getting the proof copies and stuff like that at the end of this year, so I've included it in this list. But anyway, it's War of Wyverns by S.F. Williamson. So this is the next book in a fantasy series that I recently read. The first one's called A Language of Dragons, and I really enjoyed, really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I just felt like it was a new twist that I've not read before on a fantasy series, and it was all about obviously the language of dragons, and it was dragons and humans live together, but they don't really seem to get on a lot, and there's like a very sensitive truce between them. And Vivian Featherswallow, our main lead, her parents end up getting arrested for being rebels, and Vivian had absolutely no idea. She doesn't understand why they've been arrested. They've always been like really good citizens, and she ends up by accident starting a civil war between the government, I guess, and the rebels, and between like humans and dragons, and there is a lot of politics involved, but I think it's really easy to follow, because sometimes I can get a little bit overwhelmed if I've got to remember loads of complicated names or a hierarchy or things like that, just because I don't have the best memory. So I think sometimes I can get a little bit overwhelmed if I don't fully understand what's going on. But I think this one's done really well, where it wasn't like that. I think I was following it, you know, I was following it as you were meant to follow it, but also really enjoying it at the same time. I really enjoyed this. There's a little bit of romance involved, but nowhere near as much as the fantasy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story's going to go. It doesn't necessarily end in a cliffhanger, you know what happens, but it ends in a way that made me want to read more. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. So that's the 1st of January 2026, and it's The War of Wyverns by S.F. Williamson. So yeah, that is the end of today's video. Very excited to read those 10 books. Let me know if there are any on that list that you are looking forward to reading, or if there's any others you're excited to read coming out the rest of this year. But yeah, that is the end of today's video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did and you'd like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But other than that, I will see you in a bit.